To bring everything but the hog out. Think we eat nothing but grass, what you talking about? I'm about to jump into the whip and hit the Whole Foods early. Get everything to get that soul food working, like mac and cheese, the collard greens, the black eyed peas, and get a roast of that tofu turkey. Got cornbread, even got stuffing. Mashed potatoes so good, put your hand in it. String beans, and you know we got yams with it.
Guys, welcome back to another video, and today is a collaboration with my dear friend October Rain Rocks. The video and audio I'm about to play is from a recent trip to Shorts Slaughterhouse. Something that she never ever thought she would do, but she felt she had to do it because she's a very much an empath, so she feels things really emotionally. So she obviously went to bear witness to the slaughter of animals in the last few minutes before they go to slaughter. So that's where they obviously stop the trucks. You obviously go up and you video them, obviously showing love to the animals before they go to slaughter. It's something that's really difficult so much, guys, because I know only so well myself. We've been working in a slaughterhouse. I get a lot of things like flashbacks and nightmares looking into the animals' eyes of the things I saw in the slaughterhouse. Yeah, bearing witness is one of the most powerful things you can do, but it's not the only thing you can do, and this is where Loss comes into play. She's got a lot of great ideas. She's an amazing soul, guys, and like I've always said, you don't need to be standing outside a slaughterhouse to be a vegan activist. There's so many other things you can do, like laying plants, and like I always say, we don't change perceptions by standing outside a slaughterhouse. That's not only part of it, because at the end of the day, these animals still go to slaughter, unfortunately, and that's the sad part of it. The biggest thing you can do is speaking to the public, raising awareness, because these places only exist due to supply and demand, because the public want it. The only way you change perceptions is by going out, showing love, compassion and empathy to the public, and basically letting them know what actually happens inside the slaughterhouse, because people don't know, because these places don't have a glass walls for a very good reason. And we're not there to take away slaughterhouse workers' jobs or lorry drivers' jobs and such likes. They always get quite agitated because they think that that's what we're there to do, but we should always look at it through the eyes of the victim. At the end of the day, if that was you or me or anybody else, we'd want to show them the suffering that we're going through, and that's what we should always put it into perspective, because at the end of the day, all these people, they can go to their lives afterwards. At the end of the day, the same moral right isn't granted to the animals, and that's what we should always look at it from. So Loss is going to show you her reaction and what she experienced. Please go and show her some love and support. Subscribe to her as well. So take it away, Loss. Love you so much, my friend.
Right, I thought I would do this on the voice recorder because for some reason, every time I try and record this, I'm having problems. So I'm going to do this as an audio, then put it over the top of a video imagery or something like that. I'm not quite sure I'm going to do it yet. So I basically wanted to talk about an experience I had on the 14th of February 2018. I went to a bearing witness vigil, which is something I said I would never go to, but I felt that I owed it to the animals and myself to make sure that I was actually going to something, having a physical first-hand experience with something, even if I couldn't stay the full duration. I kind of suspected that would be the case, but I wanted to make sure, and I decided to go ahead and kind of see how I went, and to see if it was something that I could partake in any form. So, hang on a second. Is this still recording? I think so, yes it is. Basically, sorry about that, I moved and my hand must have switched the phone off. Yeah, so I wanted to make sure that I was talking from a physical experience as opposed to something that I was anticipating may happen or not happen. Anyway, I went up there with somebody else from the group that was going to be at the location we were going to, and all the way up in the car was fine, and then when we actually pulled up outside of the slaughterhouse itself, the emotion just hit me like a freaking tsunami, like a brick wall. I had been to that location before, I think it was last summer. Basically when the place was shut, it was at the weekend, and I did find the place a bit eerie and creepy, but I didn't get the feelings that I did on that day. The car pulled up at the car park, which is at the back of a train station, and it just hit me like a ton of bricks. So I composed myself and decided to go ahead and see how the day was going to go. I kind of lagged behind a little bit when everybody was kind of accumulating. Like 1 second people were chatting and hugging, the next minute there was a little truck there, a little farmer's truck. I did not expect to be thrown into a truck arriving so quickly on our arrival, although obviously that could not have been anticipated or ruled out as happening, and I understand that it's hard to determine what's going to physically happen at what time. So anyway, everyone was clambering up this kind of rocky little bit, like rubbly bit. So I kind of followed on. I wasn't quite sure where everybody was going, then realised that people were going up to see the animals coming in. So I decided to, probably a bad move on my part, but I decided to go up there to see how I would feel. I had a funny feeling I wasn't going to last very long anyway, so I thought, well, I might as well see how I feel here. So I went up there, and basically as I got kind of level, I could see 2 lambs coming in. I'm not sure how old they were. They were probably about 6 to 8 months old or something, roughly speaking. They're a bit skittish, they weren't really sure what was going on. You could tell they were nervous. You could tell they could either hear, smell or feel the fear in the air. They kept trying to avoid being coerced in through these little gates and in towards the entrance of the slaughterhouse, and kept trying to kind of sneak behind this bit of the gate that they had opened, try and get them through, and they were trying to go behind it, and they were kind of then closer to where we were standing. I got a lump in the throat, and just as they started coming towards me, my legs just went like jelly, and I fell on my backside. And a lovely gentleman, I don't know who his name was, he kind of gave me a wee hand up, and I apologised and said, oh my gosh, what am I like, or something. And I could tell, I could feel the emotion building up in me, the poor things, you know, they were just young. Anyway, they carried on through into the place, and then right behind there was a reddish brown coloured cow that was being sort of chaperoned in, and the same thing happened. The farmer or slaughterhouse worker, I'm not sure which, I can't remember now, was trying to coerce the cow through the gates in towards the entrance. So they got the cow kind of through the first bit, and then it kept backtracking, it kept kind of coming towards the wall, and the guy was like kind of, again, kind of trying to get, like, react in a way to get the cow to kind of move towards the direction he wanted. This guy was in a long green coat with like a hat or a net on his hair, I can't remember, and he basically was obviously trying to coerce the cow through to the direction he wanted. You could tell the cow was terrified. I don't know if anybody else that was there noticed this, but I was close enough to see the cow's legs shaking, so I don't know if the cow knew what was happening or about to happen, or whether the fear of the unknown the way things were going, and I don't know if the cow could hear anything that was going on inside, or if there was smell or sound or just feelings that were kind of sticking and making this individual feel like, I don't want to go through there because I don't like this, I'm sensing danger or whatever. And as this cow was reacting against how this guy was, the guy was not mistreating or hitting or anything like that. He was like going ha ha, you know, like making a noise to try and get the cow to go the direction he wanted. You could tell it was freaking the poor thing out. And the last section before this guy got the cow through the gates of the actual entrance, I was just a mess. I'd by this point walked up to behind 2 or 3 dropped off backs of trucks, is all I can say what they're like, and like they'd been attached to the front part of a haulage truck, and the haulage truck driver part had gone and left the backs that obviously had at one point, or were about to have, stuff in them. They were sitting there. So after the lambs, and just as the cow was coming through, I kind of walked behind everybody and kind of geared myself towards round the side of the last truck that was there in case I broke down, which inevitably did happen. And one of the guys there, bless him, he saw me getting upset as the cow was like being treated like, come on, get in there type of thing. And I burst into tears, and the guy like went to give me a hug, and I just broke down like in floods of tears, like, you know that way when you're crying, when you can't catch your breath and you're like a big slobbering mess. Yeah, that was me. It was not attractive. Anyway, I apologise. I said I'm really sorry. The emotion just came over me. He was very pleasant and nice about it, and said don't worry about it, we're all in the same boat type of thing. So anyway, next minute everybody was heading down to the main bit where everyone was gathered initially, and people were starting to chat about what was going to be going on, and something in my soul was saying, get out of there, get your butt out of there. Like, it was this feeling that I couldn't shake, like, get out of there as soon as possible. So I had already said to the girl that had actually taken me there, if I can't handle this or I feel it's too much, I will just get the train back. So anyway, I motioned to her saying that that was me, I'd had enough and I was heading. And she was like, are you sure you don't want to sit in the car for 10 minutes and all this kind of thing? I said, no, I'm going, I need to go. So anyway, she kind of walked me up to the gates of the train station, which was literally just a hop, skip and a jump up from where we were standing, said cheerio to me, gave me a hug, and then we parted company. She went her own way back to the vigil, and I headed back home, and I had to wait about 15 minutes or something before the next train came, and my legs were shaking, man, I'm telling you, like jelly. Oh, it was just awful. So I think what I wanted to say was, if you're thinking of going to a bearing witness vigil, like really, really be prepared for any event happening. Also, be prepared for how you may or may not react. Like, if you think that you might go, you'll probably be okay and you'll handle it, be prepared for the fact that you might not, and you might react in a way that you're not expecting, or vice versa. It's just to let people know that I think bearing witness vigils have their place to some degree. They're just not for me, and I'm not particularly enamoured with them, and I don't like the fact that cameras are shoved in their faces, so to speak, as they are getting driven to a gateway where it's probably the last time they're going to see daylight and the last time they're going to smell fresh air and be alive, and I don't really like that at all. But like I say, I have been there, I've attempted it. I probably lasted about half an hour from getting out of the car to when I got back up to the train station to go back up the road. The energies, oh, they were just awful. I don't mean about anybody that was there, I just mean the physical energies that was at that place was just horrendous. The fear I felt, like I say, I don't know if it was the fear of the animals that I was picking up on, or whether it was the general fear itself of how I was feeling for the animals. I'm not really sure, but all I know is that by the time I got up to the train station and was standing waiting on my train, I was a mess. And I kind of composed myself on the train, but like I was thinking about it all the way back up the road. It took me about maybe 2 days after that to kind of get my head around everything. So I have no idea how people must feel that stay for a full day bearing witness, because I couldn't do it. And I know a lot of people are going to go, it's all about the animals, it's not about you. I understand that, but at the same time I knew that I had to come home, take care of my son, and if I had ended up a serious mess, that wouldn't have done him or I any good at all. So it's just to let people know that if you are thinking of going to a bearing witness vigil, just make sure that you prepare. I thought I was prepared. Like, I did a cleansing. When I got home afterwards, I did a cleansing before I even got in the house. I had this oil that I'd made, this protection oil that I'd made, that I put on me before I left the house. Like after I got out of the door, I cleansed myself again before I left to the house, and then I put on my oil, and then after I think I was standing at the gate actually when the lambs first going through, and I used my protection oil again, and then I left my flowers and my carnation blend with one of the organisers to lay the flowers and sort of sprinkle the dried carnations for me, because I had to go, and I did want to leave them there for them, it's kind of like a with love and memorial type thing. And then when I got back to the house, before I got in the door, I did the same thing. You know, people need to understand that you really do need to have some, if not spiritual protection, then emotional protection, because it is harrowing. And I am not expecting people to go to bearing witness vigils and say, oh, I went and had an amazing time, because obviously it is a harrowing experience, but it was a horrendous experience that I will not be repeating anytime soon. So I just wanted to put that video out, this video out, and kind of explain that I'm not bashing anybody or any movements that do these kind of vigils. They're just not for me, and I think that kind of telling or saying to people that are maybe coming into the community about bearing witness vigils is probably one of the last things I'd be kind of sharing with somebody coming new into the community, because I think you need to have a wee bit under your belt. You need to kind of know what's going on a little bit in the community. You need to know a bit of background about what kind of things you might be exposed to before you even think about going to a bearing witness vigil. Now, I've been vegan for, I don't know, a year and a half or something like that. I don't know exactly. And like from day one when I was going to the community, people were talking about bearing witness vigils, and I'm like, what the freaking hell is a bearing witness vigil? When I started looking into it and watching videos, which I did in the beginning, I was completely floored, thinking, why are people showing me this? Like, I'm kind of like just trying to get my bearings here. So I think that, you know, people that are in the vegan community and people that are kind of more used to certain things within the community and kind of have their kind of vegan legs on, so to speak, like they've kind of got a little bit of a hold on things, they've got a wee bit under their belt, so to speak. And I mean, obviously it doesn't have to be a year or anything, but just giving people that chance to kind of ease themselves into activism if that's what they want to do, and ease themselves into things like bearing witness vigils if that is what they want to do. But for me personally, I've done it once, and once was enough, and I'm going to stick to other forms of activism and just leave the bearing witness vigils to other individuals that are kind of geared up to do that type of activism, or that feel that they are kind of equipped to deal with that type of activism. Anyway, I'll leave it for now, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Lots of love and blessed be. Bye.
Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. Speak to you all soon and love you so much.